Hello everyone, welcome back to Learn in 5 Minutes, your go to channel for quick and powerful Excel tips and tricks. Today, we're going to talk about a fantastic tool in Excel that makes data filtering interactive and visually appealing: slicers. Whether you're working with tables, pivot tables, or even charts, slicers can help you filter your data with just a few clicks. By the end of this video, you'll know how to insert, format, and use slicers to make your reports and dashboards more dynamic. Let's get started. So, what exactly is a slicer? A slicer is a visual filter that allows you to easily filter data in a table, or pivot chart. It displays buttons that you can click to filter the data, making it more interactive and user-friendly than traditional drop-down filters. Slicers are especially useful when you want to present data to others or need to quickly analyze different subsets of your data. To show you how to use slicers, I have set up a simple sales data workbook. We have a list of sales transactions in sheet sales data with columns for date, product, salesperson, and amount. In another sheet pivot table, we have a pivot table summarizing this data by salesperson and product. If you're not familiar with pivot tables, or if you'd like to learn more about how to create and use them effectively, click on the I button at the top of the screen to watch our detailed video on pivot tables. This will give you a solid foundation to follow along with today's tutorial. If you want to follow along, create a similar workbook or download the example file from the link in the description. Let's start by adding a slicer to our pivot table. To do this, select any cell inside the pivot table. Go to the Pivot Table Analyze tab in the ribbon. Click on the Insert Slicer button. We can see a dialog box with a list of all the fields in our data. Let's choose salesperson and product for this example, then click OK. Now we have two slicers on our screen, one for salesperson and one for product. This will allow us to filter our pivot table dynamically. Now let's see how these slicers work. Click on a salesperson's name in the slicer, and we can see that the pivot table updates immediately to show only the data for that salesperson. We can select multiple salespersons by holding down the control key and clicking on additional names. The same goes for the product slicer. This way, we can quickly narrow down our data to focus on specific subsets. If we want to clear the filters, we just click the filter icon in the top right corner of the slicer. This will remove all filters and show the complete data set again. Next, let's make our slicers more visually appealing. Click on a slicer to select it. Go to the Slicer tab in the ribbon and we can see various formatting options. We can change the slicer style, resize it, and even increase the number of columns to make it more compact. For example, let's increase the columns in the salesperson slicer to 2. This way, we can see all the names without scrolling. We can also align and position the slices to make our dashboard look clean and organized. Just drag them around until they're in the right place. One of the most powerful features of slicers is their ability to control multiple pivot tables simultaneously. This means we can filter all related pivot tables with a single click, making our data analysis much more efficient and interactive. To demonstrate this, let's first create an additional pivot table. Once we have multiple pivot tables ready, we'll select the slicer we want to connect. Navigate to the Slicer tab in the ribbon and click on Report Connections. If you're using an older version of Excel, this option might be called Pivot Table Connections. A dialog box will appear listing all the available pivot tables in our workbook. We'll simply check the boxes next to the pivot tables we want to link to the slicer and click OK. Now, when we use this slicer, It will filter all the connected pivot tables simultaneously, providing a cohesive view of our data across multiple tables. Now, when we use this slicer, all connected pivot tables will update simultaneously. This is incredibly useful for creating interactive dashboards where multiple tables need to be filtered together. Here's an advanced tip. We can use slicers to filter data in charts as well. We'll simply create a pivot chart from our pivot table and then use the slicer to filter the data in both the table and the chart at the same time. This is perfect for creating interactive reports and presentations where visual data needs to be filtered on the fly. And that's how you use slicers for interactive data filtering in Excel. I hope you found this video helpful and that you'll start using slicers to make your own reports more dynamic and user-friendly. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Learn in 5 Minutes for more quick and powerful Excel tips and tricks. And as always, if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.